Join me now on the panel, columnist at The Spectator, Terry Barnes, chief economist and senior fellow at the IPA, Adam Creighton. Well, gents, I'll start with you, Adam. This is your patch economics. I mean, if you look at that shipping data, it is sobering. So add all the stuff you can see out there this week in the economy, there's S&P warnings. We've got some pretty uncertain economic times ahead.
Yeah, well, just in terms of the shipping fall, I think Donald Trump would probably say, well, it's working. My policy is working. But I think the rubber's really going to hit the road with his supporters because there will be shortages of cheap, formerly Chinese-produced goods. There'll be more inflation. So I think the stock market declines and the volatility there, his supporters can deal with because they don't have many shares. But this is going to be a real test for him. And I mean, as for the Australian figures that you mentioned, I mean, Australia's productivity performance has been appalling for years, and it's no surprise because we keep foisting all these regulations on the economy, net zero in particular. I mean, the cost of net zero on the economy
and
absolutely
you would have seen the
dwarfs.
comments from Blair.
Yeah, yes, which is extraordinary. So even the Labor Party in the UK is now backing away from this insanity, and the same thing is going to happen here for sure in the next 5 to 10 years. But all the collateral damage.
Except if we run with the Greens, if Adam Bant and Anthony Albanese are in an unholy alliance come Sunday morning.
Well, that's the nightmare, isn't it?
We're in trouble.
Well, that's the nightmare, isn't it? That basically it's a joint government with the Greens. Let's hope that is not the case. But look at, if there's any silver lining to that is I think it will accelerate the backing off from net zero in the long term as people will see just how crazy it is.
Let's go to Canada. The best result there for the Conservative side in some 37 years in terms of votes and seats. But they still lost. Not only that the guy we all admire, Pierre Poilievre, he lost his seat. Now, it's tough there. It's first past the post. There were some 91 candidates in the race, God forbid, Terry. But, I mean, Trump was the third candidate in this election.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I don't think he cares. That's the thing about Donald Trump. I think he was focusing entirely on his own agenda and didn't realise that there was collateral damage north of the border. And he's going to take out one Conservative leader on Monday, and there's this possibility he'll take out a second one on Saturday, which I think is absolutely appalling. But in terms of the election result, yes, the Conservatives there did very well. I mean, basically, they just got just short of the 42% that the Canadian Liberals got. But the other side of it is that Pierre Poilievre, who I think is the best leader on the Conservative side of politics around the world at the moment, got done in his own seat because of those 91 candidates and possibly because he didn't spend enough time looking at his own seat like John Howard used to do. But look, I think Donald Trump was a huge factor, absolutely, because Mark Carney, as the incoming clean-skin establishment man, I can deal with Donald Trump, Pierre Poilievre as mini-Trump. He was not in Parliament a second. He's only just got into Parliament, so there's no record for him to actually worry about, and he was able to claim that he was a new government. There was a change of government.
He sells himself as a banker, but he's not. He's a lot more than that. He's a climate zealot, isn't he?
Yeah, certainly. He's a hardcore ideologue. I mean, he's championed central banks to do something about climate change for years, which is of course ridiculous. They're meant to be controlling inflation, which was not controlled very well, by the way. But yeah, they really have. I think they've made a terrible mistake, Canadians. I think that they're going to regret it. The Trump factor is going to fade away, and then the other costs, the other issues will come back. Housing and energy, which are just as much a big issue in Canada as they are here. So I think his popularity will fall pretty quickly in coming years.
Let's talk about this anti-Morrison memo written in Chinese that's been circulated, Terry. It's gone out in the seat of Tagny in Perth. According to Google Translate, the signs read, Morrison disappointed you, Dutton will only get worse, supporting Howard Ong is to support Dutton. What do you make of this?
Well, it looks like Labor's personal attacks on Peter Dutton have gone multilingual, haven't they? And I mean, it still comes down to the basic campaign message that Labor's running, that Peter Dutton is bad, they are good, because they can't run on their own record.
Yeah, what does it say to you, though? They've been in power for 3 years and they can't touch their record and they have to lie. That's
right. I mean, and they have to demonise their opposition and invent, well, as you say, they basically lie. They have I think the lie counts up to about 80 now, isn't it? But certainly I think that's not what voters want to see. They actually want to see a contest of ideas. They're not getting a contest of ideas, they're getting a contest of personal abuse, and I just think that's wrong.
What about the voice? Sorry.
No, just very briefly. It's so sad that we've reached a position in this country where significant chunks of the population can't read English. They have to use a different language.
Yeah, that is a powerful point. And if you go out to some suburbs in Western Melbourne and Sydney, you get it in
Exactly.
other languages, other scripts even. Hey, just on that though, Adam Bandt has put a pitch out for the Muslim vote. We know in the seat of Wills, Peta Credlin, Labor's Peta Credlin's in the fight of his life there. But he's basically offering a whole lot of stuff in relation to Gaza. That's a worry.
Well, it's no longer a Green Party, really. It's a far-left ideological party. They're far more concerned about Israel and Gaza than they are about the environment. And I think more and more Green supporters should realise what they're actually voting for. Extremely high taxation government. So all these, kind of soft Green teal supporters in these rich seats, they're really voting for much higher taxes on themselves.
Yeah, well, they're the other party of the Greens. They're
Yes,
the
yeah.
better dressed flank, aren't they, Terry?
Yeah, that's true. But I think when it comes to the Muslim votes pitch, which I think is absolutely reprehensible, I think you've got to remember that Muslims don't vote as a bloc. And they don't like the type of social agenda that the Greens have. They would find it repugnant.
If they are told about it. This is the issue. If they are told about it. And to Adam's point, not the whole community is literate in English. So this is always a challenge, but we'll see, won't we? Gents, thank you.